In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 5 different email apps for the iPad to see which one is right for you. Hello and welcome to Everything iPad, the show all about the iPad. Whether you're a seasoned professional, a complete beginner, or somewhere in the middle, just like me, this show is designed to help you get the most out of your device. Now, I'm looking to build up a community of people who are looking to really gain the most out of their iPad, and in some cases make it their main or only computing device. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the email apps that are available for you to get. We've got 5 in particular, and we're going to be looking at the stock email app, Outlook, Edison, Gmail, and Spark. Those are 5 we're looking at. Now, I did try out a few others, things like Newton and Airmail, and they're fine, but they have a ton of features hidden behind a subscription paywall that was really hard for me to justify putting into this video. So they're honorable mentions, but I've left them out. It's worth checking out if you're someone who doesn't mind paying for your email app. The 5 we're looking at today are all free. A couple of them have subscriptions where you can get additional functionality, but actually on the whole, they're all fully featured email apps. Now, I'm not going to be diving into like all the specifics, but I'm just going to pick up on some of the things I've just generally noticed about each app, just to give you an overview of what I like, what I don't like, the pros and cons, that kind of thing. And really, it's going to be up to you what features you're looking for the most out of the email app, because some are quite basic, some have tons of features. In some cases, that might be too much for you. So we're just going to highlight what those are and talk about the things I like. And yeah, let's do this. So the first app we're going to look at is the stock mail app. This one, it comes pre-installed on your iPad, and it's a good app if you just want your email app to do email. And what I mean by that is that some of the other apps we look at have things like calendars built in and cloud storage and all that kind of stuff. This is just email. That's what it does. And it's a really clean interface. It's really simple to use, quite intuitive, really. And it has a lot of the standard features you would expect, like swiping across emails to archive them or mark them as read or unread. And it's quick, it's snappy, emails are received really quickly, and it works really well. And because it's a stock app, it's embedded generally into the ecosystem. So if you're sharing something and you want to send it to someone, the sharing features are all there, ready to go. So that's something I really like. Another thing I really like is the fact that it has really good text formatting options when you're sending an email. So if I fire this up here, I start looking to send an email, and from my menu here, I can tap, and this has way more formatting options than some of the other apps have. So I can choose different fonts, sizes, colors, the alignment, bullets, numbering, indentation. There's quite a lot to be getting on with here. And that's something I really like. You can customize your emails quite a lot. Some of the other apps don't actually do that so well. So this has sort of joint best out of the 5 in terms of formatting options. Another thing that's supported that I really liked was the fact that you can have HTML email signatures, and that you can do that via copy and paste. And it does support that. So if you want an email signature that has an image in or something like that, that can be supported. Not a problem at all. So they're the kind of things I like. While we're talking about signatures, you need to get to the app settings. Now, the thing I really don't like about the Mail app, and it's probably some of the other apps that come from Apple, is if you want to get to the settings of the email app, it's not on the app. Every other app, you can get to the settings through the app. But this, you have to go to settings section on your iPad, and then you have to scroll all the way down and then find the settings for that down there. Even if it's just to kind of update names or put email signatures in, you have to go through and go to a different app on the iPad to get to the settings for email. I don't like that. I want to be able to change settings of the app from within the app. And that's something that's quite annoying, and that's something that I hope Apple fixes, because it's not great, if I'm being honest. Another thing that I'm not particularly impressed with is the widgets. I'll just show you what widgets are available. So basically, we have 2. We have one that's this size and one that's this size. So the email widgets work. They're just not very varied, not particularly built in with tons of functionality. It's kind of basic. So if you're looking to use an email app that has really good widgets with a range of widgets, this probably isn't the one for you. So overall, the stock email app is pretty good. It's a clean, functional app. It's already there. It's easy to get set up with, and it's probably what most people are going to use, I'll be honest with you. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're looking for something a little bit more, let's take a look at some of the other options. So the next app we're going to take a look at is Outlook by Microsoft. It's probably one of the most used apps in the world. It's a great email app. It's really good for business and institutions. There's lots of things I like about this. A really clean layout. It has additional functionality built in, like calendars and cloud storage services and things like that. And it's got a really good layout, actually. You can see all 3 columns here. I've got a column for the different inboxes, the emails within that inbox, and then I can see the email on the final column. And I can access app settings from this app. How novel, Apple. And yeah, it's a really good thing. Now let's talk about the things I like. One thing I like is because it's really business orientated. If you're part of an institution or a business and you have a directory of emails, you can easily find other people in the directory when you're sending them the email. So for example, I use this for work. If I type in the surname of a colleague, their email address pops up, and that's really straightforward, even if I've not emailed them before. So in terms of just finding the right people to send emails to, this is something that excels at really, really well. Now, if you're not remotely interested in the additional functionality like the calendars and the cloud storage, this is something I really like. We've got a menu along the bottom here, and that menu can be customized, and you can hide or show as much as you like. If I tap on apps, I can see all the additional things I could include, but I've got a little function that says reorder. And what I can do is I can actually just choose to hide the calendar and feed and just have emails visible. And I can just hide the bits I don't want. So if you're not interested in the additional bits, there's a bit of customization here, which I really, really like. Now, another thing I like is you have a split inbox. So at the top, you can see I've got one called Focused, another called Other. So Focused will give you sort of the most important emails, and Other tends to be things like mailing lists and things you don't need to see immediately. And Outlook will kind of learn what it is that you want to see and what you don't want to see, and you can switch between the 2 inboxes. And it just helps make checking email a bit more manageable, particularly if you receive a lot of them. Another thing I like is that this supports Face and Touch ID. So if this is likely to be a device that gets seen by others, you don't want them accessing your emails, you can lock the app behind biometrics to keep that secure, and it's just a nice extra layer of security. Now, in terms of the things I'm not so keen on, it does have cloud storage. The implementation of it isn't great. It's not like other clients like Spark, which does it really well. You can add your cloud storage accounts. It supports like OneDrive, Google Drive, and Dropbox, I think. And it does it, and you can attach files to emails, but it's just not very, the user interface isn't great for that. It's not something I'm really keen on. Another thing I don't like is email signature support. It's really basic. You can do text-based email signatures. That's the best you're going to get. You can't paste in HTML signatures. You can't put in pictures and things like that through the iPad app, at least. So that's not something that's great. It's something that really needs to be improved. When you're sending an email, text editing functions are also really limited. So you can set like headings and body and titles. I can't set custom fonts. I can't do custom font sizes apart from those presets. Got really basic editing functions. It's all right for basic emails, but it's really limited in what you can do. So that's not, again, particularly not impressive. And let's take a look at the widgets. So we do have more widgets available for Outlook, but you'll notice something. They're mainly geared towards the calendar, which is really weird for an email app. So if you make use of the calendar and you want a calendar widget, you're fine. But actually, the widgets that you have for email are really basic. They're just shortcuts to send email or look in the particular inbox. You can't even see a list of emails through the widget. So actually, this has one of the worst implementations of widgets for an email app across all 5. So that's something that's not impressive to me. So overall, Outlook's pretty impressive. It's good if you're in business or institutions or education, but it has quite limited functions in some places, and there are probably some better alternatives out there for you, including the next one, which is Edison Mail. So the next app we're going to take a look at is Edison Mail, and this is my email app of choice. I've spoken about it before, and it has one killer feature that I really like, which I'll come to in a moment. When you look at it, it reminds me very much of the stock email app. It does email, and that's it. If you're looking for additional functions like calendars, this isn't the app for you. It just does email, and it does it really, really well. It has some additional features in it, which I really like. For example, you've got avatars by the emails, little pictures. And if you've got different inboxes, you can color code them. So you'll see on the right-hand side of my email list, I've got just next to the time it was received, I've got different colors to represent the different email boxes that these emails have come to. So I really quite like it. Now, the killer feature I like, and I have spoken about this on previous episodes, is the blue dot next to each one of these emails. Now, usually on email apps, if you want to mark something as read, you have to just kind of swipe across to mark it as read. But here, see those blue dots? I can just swipe the blue dots away. I can ping them away to mark it as read. Really, really easy. And I cannot tell you the amount of times I've used that function just to get through an inbox of just stuff I don't want to see or don't want to read. So yeah, it's a really good feature. It's a great time saver. It's something that for me is a killer feature. I'm really, really liking this. Now, just like Outlook, it has a split inbox. I've got focused, the main emails that I'm going to get, and I've also got other notification emails and newsletters and things. So that's really, really good. But this has some additional functionality over Outlook, which I also really like. So one of the things I really like is it's got a thing called Assistant. We can see this on the menu on the left-hand side. So this intelligently groups my emails together by different categories. So I've got things called something called subscriptions. So I can tap on that to see emails that I've subscribed to or anything related to subscriptions that I have. It's got other things like travel. So if I've got emails with like flight notifications and things like that, they get grouped together. Bills and receipts, all of the endless Amazon orders I get, they all go into that inbox. So if I just want to find a particular themed inbox, this is really easy. It's a really, really good feature that I like. Just like the stock email app, this also has really good support for HTML-based email signatures. So if you want something fancy text and images on, you can do that. You just copy and paste it into the settings, which is also built into the app. I'm not having a dig at Apple again, well, I kind of am. But you can have really good looking email signatures, not basic ones like you have in Outlook. Another feature I like is you've got some okay text formatting options. I can set custom fonts. There is something about sizes, although the size range you've got is quite limited. You've got choice of 4 different sizes there. It's got some good other features in terms of like bullets and setting hyperlinks and making text bold, etc. Text color, it's all there. So it's got a decent range of text formatting options. This app also supports biometrics, so you can secure this app behind Touch and Face ID. Works really well. And let's take a look at the widgets. So the widgets we have on offer are probably the best we've seen so far. You've got several available. You've got small ones which tell you the amount of unread emails. You've got links to be able to compose an email quickly, and then it will give you an outline of the contents of your inbox. You've got some really detailed views here. And yeah, you can see as much as you want to see. So actually, I'm going to put the widgets under a pro here. They've done a really, really good job with this implementation of widgets. So let's talk about a couple of the cons about the Edison Mail app. This might not matter to you too much, but they are there. It does have a subscription model, and the subscription model is quite expensive. If I just tap to see this, it is $14.49 a month or £97 a year. And what do you get from that? Well, it's quite limited, although the app is still fully featured, really. You can keep your contacts up to date, and it will read your emails to detect any changing contact details. It's got sender verification, family sharing. You can block spam calls. You've got caller ID. I don't know how that affects email, but it's there. That's what you get in the subscription model. It's not great. It's a bit weird. I'd kind of like to support Edison Mail because I think it's a really good app, although I don't want to do it through this kind of subscription because it has features that isn't really useful to me. So maybe if they could bring in like a smaller tier of subscription, I don't know, something simple, custom app icons and themes or whatever, few extra options, I'd happily support them there, but probably not for the price they're charging at the moment. And the last thing I'm not too keen on is cloud storage support. You can you can put attachments on emails, but it is limited through the Files app. So you can do it through other cloud services other than iCloud, but you have to set it all up through the Files app. So integration with cloud services isn't amazing on this app. So overall, Edison now is right up the top so far in terms of my favorite email apps. A really simple app. If all you're looking to do is email, and it's got some really good functionality within it. So it's probably the best one so far. So can Gmail beat it? Let's take a look. So the Gmail app from Google does support other email services, but it's mainly geared towards if you're a Gmail user. And lots of people will install this app if they use Gmail because that's what they're used to and they think that's the best email app if you have one of those accounts. I don't think it is. It's basic on many levels. There's a nice, clean, simple setup. They've got good integration with Google Meet, and it's got excellent, as you'd expect, Google Drive integration as well for sending attachments and things. But it is a very basic app in a number of ways. So first of all, if I'm going to send an email, the text formatting options are incredibly limited. We can see them there. I can type text and I can make it bold, I can italicize it, or I can underline it. And that's it. I don't have any other options available. It's not great. One thing that is great is you can schedule sending an email. That's quite a good feature to have. But yeah, the text formatting options is incredibly limited. Another thing that's incredibly limited is email signatures. Again, just text-based, small email signatures. Doesn't look great. That's not something that I'm particularly impressed with. And the compose an email window is incredibly small. That's it. This is what you can see on the screen. I can't make it any bigger than that. And that's kind of annoying. It's not like some other apps where it takes up full screen. I'm not a fan of this at all. It's too limited, really small space. I'm not a fan of it at all, if I'm being honest. Let's take a look at some of the widgets from Gmail. I've got two. They're both the same size. One just gives me a summary of the emails, the last 3 emails I've received. And the other one just gives me some button shortcuts to compose or go to my inbox. That's it. Really limited. Probably the worst in terms of range out of all of the widgets I've seen, apart from Outlook, which is all about the calendar. So this isn't particularly great. Hopefully it's something that can improve. But I'm going to be honest, it's not great. So the Gmail app is something that's really, really hard to recommend, to be honest. It's incredibly basic, not many features. It's okay if you just want to send the occasional email or check something, but to be honest, even the stock email app on the iPad is far superior to the Gmail app. It's not great. Just like most of the apps, I'll be honest, from Google on the iPad are not great. And you're always better off just using the Google services in the Safari browser to get the most out of the Google services. So we have one more to take a look at, and that's Spark. So Spark is probably the most impressive email client on this list. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best email app on the entire App Store in terms of what it can do, in terms of the way it handles emails. If you're a heavy email user, this is an absolute no-brainer. I think it's probably one of the best. Let's talk about why. So, first of all, you have a number of different inbox options. You might notice that my inbox, and it's the same inbox I've looked at compared to all of my other email apps we've been looking at in this episode, it looks really different. And that's because it categorizes intelligently emails together. So I've got a choice between different inboxes. You can choose from the top. We've got Smart 2.0, Smart, and Classic. Smart 2.0 basically shows you emails from real people. And everything else, notifications and newsletters, any subscriptions you have, they all get grouped into 2 categories at the top. And you can go through those as you want to. But it means that emails from people don't get lost in amongst all the emails you receive, which is a really, really useful feature. Another feature I like is that if you pay for a premium subscription, you've got access to inbuilt AI. So from within the Compose an Email app, you have a blue button in the bottom corner that says generate a draft. And from here, you can type in specific instructions in terms of generating an email for you. And it works really well. You do have to pay for it, and there is a subscription. It's reasonably priced. I think it's about £7 or £8 a month, or there's an annual subscription you can pay for if you want to. You don't have to, and if you don't pay for the subscription, it's still a really fully featured app. But this is the only one we've looking at so far which has AI functionality built into it. It's incredibly impressive. It works really, really well. Let's try it out. So my instruction is to generate an email to a client asking for an invoice to be paid for order number 2610, coming to a total of £128. Let's see what it does. And just like that, it's generated a pretty well-written email, and I can customize it, of course, as I need to, but it would take me far longer to type an email like that. And the fact that it just does it automatically, I can then choose to insert that into the email, and it's done. It's super quick. It's such a good feature. Honestly, more email apps need to build this in, and I suspect it won't be long before they do. Another thing I like is all of the text formatting options that are available to you, and I can choose from different fonts, different font types. I've got bullets and indentations and all sorts of things, colors, hyperlinks, everything I could possibly want. It's all there. Really, really well featured set of formatting options. Another thing I really like is the cloud storage support. It supports a number of different cloud options, including OneDrive, Google Drive, etc. And it's all built in. You can attach files really easily. It works incredibly well. Another thing that works well is support for HTML email signatures. You can paste those in just like a couple of the other apps we looked at. Supports images and everything like that. Perfect. And of course, we have biometric security, so you can hide all of this behind Face and Touch ID. Now let's take a look at the widgets. So it probably won't come as much as a surprise to you that this has also the best range of widgets. You don't have to pay for any of these either. It's all in the normal free version. So you can see a summary of the number of unread emails. You can see a list of emails. You've got some links to a calendar because it does have an inbuilt calendar as well if you want to do any of that stuff. So a really good range. We're not done yet. There's still plenty more to look at. I can look at my emails and calendar, and it supports, it's the only one we've looked at that currently supports the maximum size widgets, which is a double width one that you can have on your home screen. So it's fantastic, a proper great range of widgets. So even though I use Edison email, I have to say SparkMail is probably the most impressive email app client, and it's the one I would recommend for most people to use unless you're looking for something really, really simple just for sending basic emails to. Spark is incredibly fully featured. It's free for most of its features, and that AI implementation is incredibly impressive if you want to pay for that. So overall, Spark is my recommendation, but I have to say Edison email also holds a place dear to my heart as well. That's the end of this episode of Everything iPad. What email client do you use, and are you about to switch? Let me know if you've got any recommendations in the comment below. Please like and subscribe and do all of that stuff. I also have a bunch of socials. I'm now on Threads, so you can find me at Buzzkill on Threads and Instagram, and I'll do the whole Mastodon thing as well. And if you want to leave a donation to the channel, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/Buzzkill. Leave a small donation there if you want to. And also have a merch store, buzzkill.shop, to get your t-shirts, your mugs, your tote bags, all that kind of stuff. Check that out as well. And that's the end of this episode of Everything iPad. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thanks for your support as ever. I look forward to seeing you again for a new episode where I'll be talking about something very, very cool indeed. See you soon. Bye-bye.